Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Coffee with Himanshu. I'm Himanshu Badalia, and today we have a very special guest with us. Someone who's not only an accomplished architect but also a visionary entrepreneur. Our guest today is Mr. Lovel Singhal, the co founder of Void Studios. Over the past decade, Lovel has gathered a wealth of experience in various facets of architecture, from working as a salaried professional to now leading his own successful firm, Void Studios. Voice Studio stands as a testament to his dedication, creativity, and business acumen. In this episode, we're going to deep dive into Lovel's journey, extracting insights that will be incredibly valuable for young professionals and business owners who are looking to make a mark in the world of architecture. We'll be discussing everything from the challenges that he overcome to the strategies he employed to build a thriving business and navigate the dynamic landscape of architecture. Whether you are an aspiring architect, a design enthusiast, or somebody who is interested in the intersection of creativity and business, you're in for a treat. So, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Okay, so Lovell, can you share your journey with our audience? When did you exactly decided कि तुम्हें architecture field में जाना है? Then your studies, how did you attain your degree? Where did you attain your degree from? उसके बाद में getting your first job, was it so difficult like every other profession, or did you have a hack there? Then taking your journey further and then starting your own business. So just take our audience through the overall journey that you had so far.
So I think you are well aware, Himanshu, that at our time there was no Instagram, and we were not well connected to the market. It was difficult to know what you want to do. So I know what I don't wanted to do. I don't wanted to be a civil engineer, like my dad. So that was it. So I did my AIEEE. I got a very good rank, and then I decided that if it is not the engineering thing I want to go, the only option I'm left with is architecture. That's how I found architecture. It was not always intentional to go into architecture, but when I studied architecture, and simultaneously I had that knack of learning psychology as well with it, because I understood that it goes hand in hand. In order to understand the context of an area, of a client's mind, you need to understand a little bit of psychology behind it. So after graduating in 2014, at that point of time, I went and I started for searching for jobs. At that point of time in our field, architects were merely taken as drafters. Right now, the role is changed into modelers, but it's still the same. You are not being trained into thinking about something new. It is all about what your seniors have given you, and you have to just draft it and have to create those drawings and all. So I did went for my this is after I got a very good marks in my thesis. My thesis was considered as one of the best in the university, and even after that I had that struggle that I remember my employer whom I went and interviewed. He said, you start coming to our office, and after a month I'll decide how much I should give you. So it was really dream shattering reality where I was in. It was difficult to get a job, and that is the reality for right now as well. It is, I won't say it's difficult, but I would say even if you after you get a job, you still struggle as an architect for, let's say, minimum of 3 to 5 years. Until and unless you don't go through that phase, it is difficult for you to you know play your role as an architect. You have to more become like as a draftsman or something like that. So what I did was I got a job offer of a sales manager, that I had to be a sales accountant for BIM, the Building Information Management. At that point of time, I had a good experience in Revit, which was considered as BIM, which is not at all BIM. So what I did was my work profile was, if I go to each and every account in architectural company, I have to convey them and I have to educate them in BIM and get them to own the softwares. So what I did was I took this job. My father was baffled. He said, "Why you are going into sales job if when you have done architecture?" But I knew that the only way to connect to all these industry and to understand which is the best firm for me to work in, it is the only way that I will get all the contact list. I'll go to all these company, and not just go to the company. I'll happen to meet the managers, meet the CXOs level people. So I know how to place myself. So what happened was I just had a very brief amount of my job for 9 months. I did that job. In that 9 months, I covered around about more than 100 accounts in entire AC industry, and I happened to meet a lot of people. And I did converted 4 firms from a CAD based environment to a BIM based environment, and then I naturally got a job offer from them as well. That's how I ended up, after a year of hard work, I ended up my first architectural job. And then I started, but then eventually it didn't work out because there were a couple of reasons for that. Then I had to somehow retreat back to my BIM manager's role, and I knew that if I'm going to just work in under architectural thing, I won't be getting money, or neither I won't be getting recognition or anything. So I somehow was doing everything parallelly. I really wanted to be an architect, but still the way this industry is, it was very difficult to coexist as both. So I then switched my my career to a BIM journey. I became a BIM implementation mentor, and I've worked in all over India. I worked in different parts of India. Then I that got promoted to BIM manager. And I have what the good part about being in a BIM environment was that I used to work on projects only. And even I was a fresher, even though I was a fresher, I was in a managerial position. So I knew about BIM, which helped me to give that experience to my team. And that team used to give me that architectural and project management experience back to me. So it was a very give and take barter kind of a system where I was coexisting very naturally. And so that it what happened was that I happened to co-design Indira Gandhi canteens and kitchens, which were round about 800 of them got created in matter of 9 months in all over Karnataka. And I co-designed it with my senior architect Martian Gaida from Poland, and that nabbed a lot of eyes and all. Then after that, I got a good opportunity to manage the entire project of Lulu Mall in Lucknow, and that was a very big learning curve. And that's how I got into the eyes of big people who came to the company, who used to see that project and all. And over there, one individual, Mr. Paul, he recommended me that level the talents like yours, why you don't work in London? And what do you require? I said, I require a job. And that was it. I quit my company. I worked hard, and I gave my interviews to 3 4 different companies, and I got selected. And that's how I went to UK. And then my it was again the same role, BIM manager role. And but the only thing, the difference was I was still managing a lot of projects. I was working on projects. The only thing was that as an architect, you work only on a design aspect of a project. But when you work on BIM, it is all about, you need to understand the pre-tender phase, how the project is being given, how the project needs to be managed in such a way that it goes into the design department, then how it is designed and how well that information creates and gets into the manufacturing stage, and then how manufacturing happens, and then how the assembling and the execution happens. So it is a complete life cycle that I was involved in. But I was not able to design that building. What I was doing is I was able to build it very consciously, or I was allowing, or I was helping everyone to build that building. So I did that thing in different countries. I've worked in UK, I worked in Norway, Iceland, and in China. So then COVID happened, and after that COVID, I had to come back, retreat back to India. I cannot sit idle. At that point of time, I thought I should start with freelance projects because I knew still in India, BIM is all about modeling. It is not about information management, which is at its core. And information management helps a lot. Like even all the follow audiences, I want to highlight this thing. Architects should not move to BIM just because it gives you a higher salary. You should go towards BIM because it is a very responsible job. It will make you responsible of what you are designing. Of a single line that you make on a paper has a consequences to its maintenance factor, to building's operational factor. So it is not a joke. But what happens is that an architect, when he works under his own cocoon, he designs a lot of things, but still he don't understand the implication it will have when the building is actually running. BIM allows you to see that. So I want people to work in BIM only for that factor, that they want to become more responsible architect or more responsible engineers. That's how you should opt BIM. Otherwise, you shouldn't be opting BIM. That's my fair point and honest point of view. So then what happened was when I came back to India, I understood that I don't know how long this COVID situation is going to happen. I sat idle for 3 months. Then I started taking freelance projects. I don't know how those freelance projects got so much good response. I'm not saying that I have done a good job, but what I'm trying to say is that the way I was aggressive towards it, the way I took those projects, not just the freelance projects, but as in that they are going to be a stepping stone to get some few more projects. So that's what happened. I did a one small residential of 230 gaj plot, and the way it was designed, it gave the feeling of 500, more than a 500 gaj feeling. That was an observation which few of the people have made. And because of this, that small residential project, that too in Saharanpur, it landed me a hotel project in Greater Noida, and that too on the one of the most busiest chalks, that is Pari Chalk. So I didn't know how that happened. It was just about the way that design convinced the client that this guy is going to make full use of utilization of the entire space. That got me the project. And then in the later months, it that one single project sprouted into two, three different projects. I did a one small, what do you say, plant to showroom in a Paltan Bazaar, a local shop, a local market in Dehradun. That got me a 100-room hotel in Yamunotri. Like you cannot even relate to it. How come a owner of that person, a owner of such a big hotel, is going to get convinced with your that small of a shop? That's how I got a project. And it was difficult journey. And I think everyone who works in a business environment, whether he's an architect or anyone, it is always a difficult journey. You do a lot of mistakes. It is costlier mistakes also. You learn from it, and you have to sustain that thing. There are a lot of problems, lot of anxiety issues, lot of things happens, but that is a part of the journey. And now I'm just sitting in front of you after like 10 years of experience. I not even 10 years, I would say 9+ years experience. And I think I've started my own company. And now at this point of stage of point, I feel that this is not enough. That the transition from a salesman to a BIM guy, to BIM implementation mentor, to BIM manager, then to an principal architect of a firm. Now I'm thinking that I should be doing everything internationally, and this is how my journey was. That's what I would say. I was not just an architect. I evolved and I'm evolving. I'll be.
That was amazing, Level. I know you from a childhood,
Yeah.
and I've seen your entire journey of almost a decade long, starting from your college days, what sort of mindset you had at that time. Then getting into a job, again, a different sort of mindset from rest of the, colleagues that I saw in my company, in any other firm. You had a totally different mindset as an employee as well. Moving to different country, that's never easy. Adapting to it, flourishing in it, and then making a name for yourself. Then, when the COVID happened, again, it was a challenge for everyone, and you converted that challenge into an opportunity. From freelancing to starting your own firm, there must have been thousands of learnings that you had, thousands of challenges that you had faced.
Yeah.
Can you pinpoint couple of challenges and how did you overcome that? And what were your key learnings from your entire professional journey?
Yeah, sure. I would like to highlight one thing. When you are doing a job, you feel that you are not that important, that it will be difficult for you to do a business. I think that's a mentality. You have to grow out of your mentality. If you don't grow out of your mentality, no one is going to make you grow out of it, and you will lack each and everything. You don't have to become arrogant about it. The only thing is you have to, I would say, do mistakes, because doing a mistakes is more important than just thinking and brooding about it, that I am not capable of it or I won't be able to do it and I'm still struggling to be an employee under some firm. So I think that that shift needs to happen, even if I think it's very difficult, and I cannot cover each and every aspect of it. The only thing I would say is that you need a break, and you start small. Always take baby steps, and when you take baby steps, your confidence will grow. And going from A to B, it might look very difficult, but you don't have to think about going to B. You just have to proceed baby steps towards each and every point of time. Every day you need to make a small baby step, and you won't come to know that when you have reached baby B, that baby B will become the point B of your life, and that's how you will start your journey. Otherwise, you will never going to start your journey. Saying that I'm going to do it tomorrow is a way of saying that I will never do it, because tomorrow never comes. Everyone knows that. So I think the first key problem is when you start the business, you don't get that response. You will never going to get that response. But that doesn't mean that you're going to point fingers at yourself, saying, I know मेरे पास experience नहीं है, मेरे को ये चीज़ नहीं आती है, पता नहीं शायद मैंने ऐसे गलत तो नहीं बोल दिया, I don't know how should I represent myself, मैं तो बहुत मोटा भी हूँ, तो I feel like कि यार I don't know, मेरे को नहीं लगता मैं प्रेजेंटेबल हूँ. बट ये सब चीज़ें एक चीज़ है, एक साइड में आती हैं. ये भी एक बहुत बड़े कंट्रीब्यूटिंग फैक्टर्स हैं, लेकिन इसके अलावा भी आपके पास जो आपने पढ़ा है, लिखा है, आपको जो करना है, आपके पास अगर डू और डाई की सिचुएशन है तो आप वो कर लोगे, और वही आपको करना पड़ता है. तो जब कंपनी आप स्टार्ट करते हैं तो यू हैव टू ऑलवेज स्टार्ट विद कि यू डू थिंग्स फॉर फ्री. पहले एक 6 महीने के अंदर एक गांठ बांधनी चाहिए कि आप 6 महीने में ही फ्री के काम करोगे, उसके बाद काम नहीं करोगे. तो ये की लर्निंग है. हम क्या करते हैं, मैंने बोला भाई हिमांशु मेरे को ना आप मेरे पास आए, आपने बोला कि आप लवल मेरा घर बना दो. मैंने बोला यस प्लीज़ घर बना लीजिए, और मैं अभी भी स्टार्ट हो रहा हूँ. आई वुड से हिमांशु को कि आई डोंट वांट एनीथिंग एल्स, आई जस्ट वांट कि आप मेरा खर्चा पानी दे दीजिए. खर्चा पानी में कोई मना नहीं करता, और अगर कोई तुम्हें मना कर रहा है खर्चा पानी के लिए, इसका मतलब वो तुम्हें सिंसियरली ले ही नहीं रहा. अगर वो तुम्हें सिंसियरली नहीं लेगा तो तुम्हें हर जगह प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगी. तुम्हें उसको समझाने में प्रॉब्लम आएगी, तुम उसका काम करोगे वो तुम्हें बुली करेगा. तो इट्स बेस्ट ऑलवेज टू मेक बाउंड्रीज. डोंट एवर बी स्केर्ड ऑफ पुटिंग अप विद दिस स्मॉल थॉट कि यार मैं पैसे मांग लिया तो वो प्रोजेक्ट हाथ से ना चला जाए. ऐसा कभी मत सोचो, ऐसा कभी होगा भी नहीं. क्यों नहीं होगा? ये कॉन्फिडेंस तुम्हें रखना पड़ेगा कि सर मैं आपका घर बना रहा हूँ एंड आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू चार्ज यू एनीथिंग फॉर इट, बट एटलीस्ट मेरा खर्चा आने जाने का खर्चा, मेरा नॉर्मल खर्चा ये मेरे को दे दीजिए, सो दैट मैं सस्टेन कर सकूँ. So this is a very key learning and very small, but it's very, very impactful. Second thing is that never work for free. Why? There's a simple reason behind it. आपके पास एक थोड़ा सा पैसा है, ठीक है, और आप अपना टाइम, ये दोनों के दोनों इन्वेस्टमेंट है आपके बिजनेस के अंदर. ये दोनों के दोनों आप करोगे एक अपनी बिजनेस को बढ़ा करने के लिए, देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट इट. लेकिन एक बार वो काम आ भी गया फ्री में, 2 महीने हो गए, 3 महीने हो गए, उस काम को 6 महीने भी लग सकते हैं और 1 साल भी लग सकता है खत्म होने में. लेकिन जब आप 6 महीने बाद बैठे होंगे ना, उस टाइम पे ना आपको वो काम नहीं दिखेगा, बोझ दिखेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि आपको लगेगा यार ये मेरी एक लायबिलिटी बन गई है, अब मैं इसको ख़त्म कैसे करूं. क्योंकि जब तक काम पूरा नहीं होगा तब तक आपके 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स भी नहीं आएंगे आपके पास. आप 10 लोगों को दिखा भी नहीं सकते, सिर्फ आप एक नाम मात्र बोल सकते हो. And not every project is going to give you business. Not every project is गोइंग टू बी अरे मैंने एक प्रोजेक्ट कर लिया तो मेरा धंधा पानी चल जाएगा, मेरी शॉप चल जाएगी. इट नेवर हैपेंस दैट वे. रियल लाइफ में डिफरेंट होता है माहौल. एक क्लाइंट जो होता है वो हमेशा आपको बड़े बड़े सपने दिखाता है कि आप इसका सैंपल बना लो, यू गोइंग टू गेट अ नेम फॉर इट एंड देन आई एम गोइंग टू रिकमेंड यू. इट नेवर हैपेंस. एक बार काम खत्म होता है, काम खत्म होने तक ही भाईचारा रहता है. उस भाईचारे के अंदर तुम अपना जॉब और अपने पैसे तो कम कर लोगे, लेकिन वो काम खत्म होने के बाद that never helps. That there is no guarantee that it's going to get converted into that part. So second thing is important, and that is that never work for free. It is very important. So first point is that take the baby steps, go into the business, don't doubt yourself. Second key learning is that never work for free. Third thing is whatever you do in your business, always document, because even if it is a small project or a big project, you and me, whatever we are talking, if it get turns into MOM in minutes of meeting and gets signed by both of you, that becomes the concrete single point of reference, that this is what we have discussed and that this is what we have given you. This will help manage expectations of you and your client, and it will help you and your team to fulfill those expectations. So that is very important. That is the third key learning I went through. Fourth, I understood is that whenever, whatever you work, no matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, don't think in terms of money, especially in architecture. Because architecture is all about art in permutations and combination. And if you're going to think in terms of money of every design, then it becomes a big problem, because then you're going to quantify your designs. You will say यार ये तो 5 रुपए का काम है, मैं इसमें 1 घंटा क्यों लगाऊं, मैं इसको 2 मिनट में कंप्लीट करूंगा. या ये प्रोजेक्ट तो यार 1 साल तक का है, तो आई एम गोइंग टू गिव इट मोर प्रायोरिटी देन द प्रोजेक्ट विच इज गोइंग टू गेट एंड ओवर इन जस्ट 2 months. So don't commercialize your business. I'm not saying that you don't earn from it. You should earn from it. There is always, you are doing business just so that you can grow and you earn from it. But it doesn't mean that you're going to commercialize your business. So that is the key. 4 points, 4 takeaways from my business journey, I would say, that I want to tell.
Okay. So, Level, working as a professional in India, abroad, and then starting your own business in India. एक अच्छा खासा एक्सपीरियंस आप गैदर कर पाए हो. सो यू वुड बी एबल टू टेल अस एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आर द लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड्स दैट आर गोइंग ऑन इन इंडिया in the field of architecture versus what trends are going on in the field of architecture internationally. I'm sure every country would have a different sort of challenges because of their geography and their local culture. So what are the trends in India architecture field ke andar, and what are the trends abroad? Can you share some insights on that?
See, I would say every country has its own architectural definition to their buildings. When I worked in UK, I understood most of the buildings are modern buildings, or I would say contemporary buildings. They definitely have a taste of art, which is completely reflected in the interiors of each and every pub you visit or any commercial shop you visit. So they see the two things are there: the architecture, there's an interiors. Interior is a very highly creative field, which gets personalized. The art gets personalized towards the inhabitant who is staying inside that space or using that space. As in architectural terms, it is all about giving and utilizing the entire space, and making the entire geography, the entire giving a definition to that building. So in London, I would say it is all contemporary buildings. It is all one type of building that you see, okay, and you will feel, okay, it's a new structure, it's a modern structure with a very nice elevation and all that stuff. In terms of US, the same thing. In Iceland and in Norway, the two things are that the most of the buildings are, you'll find it's all in a rectangular form, for a simple reason that majority of buildings are functional in nature, because they have to see the atmosphere, the climate, and all that stuff as well. When I talk about India, India has a very diverse range of architecture styles. Most most of those architects who are working in India, they are in a way commercialized architects. They work in terms of whatever has been approved by a authority, a development authority, gets built. They don't work too much in either in the space planning or in the uh, elevation part of it. That's what you see the commercialization happening in Mumbai and in Delhi and in big metropolitan cities as well. But when I talk about having a mall designed, having houses designed, or commercial spaces, there you'll see a lot of diversified fields. The way you see architecture is getting designed. A lot of people, a lot of architects, or a lot of clients also, they get influenced by what kind of architecture has been practiced outside, and they try to imitate that as well. There are a lot of architects here who are trying to create very authentic and very innovative and genuine designs as well. So it's all a mix. It's all a big mix, which I would say in India. Yes, India is progressing and India has a lot of potential. In that lot of potential, that is what we architects have to decide how we can be conductor of making a good society. and and there is no good or bad design. It is all about how effective your design is. So I would say yes, outside it is more architecture is like an art, and in India people it is becoming an art. Architecture is becoming an art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And having run your own business, White Studio, I've seen you create such amazing designs out of nothing, right? Hence the name Void as well.
Yeah.
So, can you share exactly what business strategy do you use and how do you market yourself?
So, Himanshu, in our field, it is a very competitive field. It is competitive like your field as well. In our field, it is all about how you create a niche, that niche from which your practice is being recognized. So some, like we had very good big architects who have a way of doing a fluid designs. There are a couple of architects who are very good in making geometrical shapes. Some designs are completely mud or sustainable in architecture. So everyone has their own way of marketing themselves, and that's how they get projects as well. So I, by my initial years in architecture, I know how to make a small space big in terms of its designing. So I'm like that, baniya mentality. That यार मेरे पास 100 गज की जगह है, मैं इसको कैसे सबसे ज़्यादा यूटिलाइज करूँ. Even if I want to make it a house for myself, I'll say यार how to make it 3 BHK. Even if it is not possible at first, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how impractical you might sound, because see, it is not about how absurd your idea is, it's not about how impractical your idea is. It is all about that you might create something which can inspire a lot of people to do that way. Right now we what all we think is कि यार ये 60/40 का प्लॉट है, इस 40/60 के प्लॉट में रेक्टेंगुलरी यहाँ डब्बे यहाँ डब्बे यहाँ डब्बे यहाँ डब्बे यहाँ बन जाए. हाँ, मैंने ये भी बना दिया, ये भी बना दिया, ठीक है, वो सब चीज़ें चल रही हैं, चलती आ रही हैं. But how you going to make it more evolved of a space? How you going to make it more personalized to a person? How you going to give a more return on value to that person? When I talk about dhanda, you understand, right? If I tell a person कि आपके पास 100 अच्छी जगह है, कितने कमरे निकल रहे हैं आपके, होटल बनाना है आपको, 4 कमरे निकल रहे हैं, मैं 6 निकाल के दूंगा. वो बोलता है कैसे? मैं कहा पैसे दो, प्रोजेक्ट दो, फिर बताऊंगा कैसे. And when I do that, they're like, ऐसा तो मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था, इस एंगल से तो मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था. और बाकी मैंने आर्किटेक्ट से पूछा तो उन्होंने भी मुझे नहीं बताया. तो देन आई सेड कि सर ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं कुछ अलग हूँ या कुछ जीनियस में कुछ है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. द ओनली थिंग इज आई नो, आई अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ योर साइट, आई अंडरस्टैंड योर विजन. जब मेरे को आपका प्रॉब्लम पता होगा तभी तो उसका सॉल्यूशन उसी प्रॉब्लम के हिसाब से होगा, नहीं तो मेरे सॉल्यूशन का कोई फायदा नहीं है, मुझे प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं पता. तो अब मुझे पता है कि आपकी मेंटालिटी ऐसी है और आपको वो चीज़ चाहिए, तो मैं वो निकाल के देगा. इट इज़ एज सिंपल एज दैट. जब, और ये सिर्फ एक टाइप का क्लाइंट है. कुछ क्लाइंट होते हैं यार मेरे पास स्पेस की भरमार है, आई हैव लाइक 3-4 बीघा टू माई नेम. You just have to carve out 5600 square feet of house out of that. मैं वहाँ पर ऐसा नहीं है कि वहाँ पर भी मैं छोटी छोटी मेंटालिटी के साथ ही काम करता हूँ. Then I have to have a different kind of answers to that. I have a different design to that. See, luxury जो होती है ना, वो महंगा महंगा चीज़ क्रिएट करने में नहीं होती है. लग्जरी होती है कि आप क्या एक्सपीरियंस दे रहे हो. अगर मैंने आपको एक अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस दिया और वो एक्सपीरियंस से मटेरियल का कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, मैं आपको यही अच्छी लग्जरी आपको मड में भी क्रिएट करके दे सकता हूँ. इट इज ऑल अबाउट दैट हाउ आई प्रेजेंट दैट थिंग एंड हाउ मेंटेनेबल दैट स्पेस इज टू यू. सो इट इज ऑल अबाउट, मैंने जैसे मार्केट किया अपने आप को, हर आदमी को समझना जरूरी है. अगर आप हर किसी को एक ही थाली में गेज करोगे, अब मुझे मेजोरिटी लोग ये पूछते हैं सर आपका रेट क्या है, कि आपका क्या स्क्वायर फीट पर रेट लेते हो आप डिज़ाइन करने के लिए. मैं कहा सर ऐसे रेट नहीं फाइनल होते हैं. ये एक बहुत बड़ी लर्निंग थी. मेजॉरिटी आर्किटेक्ट्स के पास जाओगे ना तो बोलेंगे जी मैं तो 100 रुपये स्क्वायर फीट में आर्किटेक्चर डिज़ाइन करूँगा. भाई क्यों करोगे? हो सकता है जो 100 रुपये स्क्वायर फीट का आपने काम दिया है, आपका वो काम उतने उतने रुपए का ही ना हो. उस वजह से क्या होता है, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ जो लो स्केल क्लाइंट्स होते हैं ना, वो अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते आर्किटेक्ट्स को. फिर वो क्या कहते हैं यार, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को बोलते हैं भैया तू ही बना ले. अब एज एन रिस्पॉन्सिबल गाय व्हाट आई वुड से कि आर्किटेक्ट महंगा या सस्ता नहीं होना चाहिए. आर्किटेक्ट एक आदमी की जेब और पॉकेट अनुसार होना चाहिए. उसको बोले कि सर आपके पास इतनी जेब है ना, कोई बात नहीं, मैं इतना बेसिक तो करके दे ही दूंगा कि आपका ये काम हो जाए, उसके बाद आप बाद में करवा लेना जब आपके पास पैसे होंगे. या मत करवाना, कम से कम खराब जगह पे तो नहीं रहोगे, खराब घर पे तो नहीं रहोगे, आप अच्छे घर पे तो रहोगे. आर्किटेक्ट्स, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया, आर्किटेक्ट शुड बी अ गुड कंडक्टर ऑफ ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग सोसाइटी. ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग सोसाइटी कैसे होती है? एक लाइट जो सीधी ग्लेयर पड़ रही है वो आपका मूड खराब कर देगी. एक इनडायरेक्ट लाइट इज गोइंग टू मेक योर मूड, इट्स गोइंग टू क्रिएट एन एम्बियंस. सो दैट काइंड ऑफ नॉलेज, एक एजुकेशन अवेयरनेस एक आर्किटेक्ट ही दे सकता है. तो अगर आर्किटेक्ट ये रोल्स नहीं कर रहे हैं तो उनको आर्किटेक्चर का, मतलब मैं कहता हूँ उनको आर्किटेक्चर प्रैक्टिस नहीं करनी चाहिए. उसका सिंपल सा रीजन ये है कि आर्किटेक्चर से ज्यादा पैसा आपको बाकी फील्ड्स में मिल जाएगा. Like architects who wants to earn money, they can make money from hell lot of other business. But if you are in architecture, then I think it's a moral responsibility for each of one of us to enhance, societal living standards of living at large. That's what I feel. So coming back to the same point, the point is that जो भी हमारी ये issues होते हैं, ये problems होती हैं, इन problems को समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और अगर आपने वो समझ लिया, then you will be easily able to market yourself. And that's precisely I have taken care of. Whichever meeting I goes, I understand that person. I let other person speak, and I explain him or herself in whatever way they want to. And then I present only that portfolio which helps them understand that I'm understanding their mindset. And when they understand कि हाँ ये बंदा कर लेगा, ये समझ रहा है मेरे को, तभी I get the projects. And that becomes easier for me. That becomes a fun part of it.
So in short, like every other business, customer centricity is the key.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, taking cue from what you just said, being creative is one side of the business, and economics is other side of the business.
Yeah,
how do you balance these two? There might be projects which creatively you're very interested in it, that you'll be able to present your art, but won't give you money.
Yeah.
And there'll be projects that might kind of shatter your image, that ye kya design bana diya, but is highly profitable for you.
Yeah.
How do you balance these two?
See, you have to balance it by saying no. See, आप जब किसी प्रोजेक्ट को लेते हैं ना, तो वो एक दिन का काम नहीं होता है, एक महीने का काम नहीं होता. उसके साथ आपकी लेगेसी जुड़ जाती है. लेट्स से मेरे ऑफिस की एक डायनामिक्स है, एक इकोनॉमिक्स है. मुझे पता है कि यार अगर मेरे पास 2 लाख रुपए महीना नहीं आया तो मैं अपने ऑफिस को नहीं चला पाऊंगा. और मेरे पास कुछ एक ऐसा बंदा आता है, वो बोलता है कि यार मेरे को ना ज़्यादा डिज़ाइन नहीं चाहिए, मुझे बस डिज़ाइन करके दो, फटाफट काम करके दो और अपनी ये पैसा लो. वैसे ही दूसरी जगह एक क्रिएटिव बंदा आता है मेरे पास कि मुझे तो अच्छा स्पेस चाहिए, थॉट ऑफ स्पेस चाहिए, जिसमें मुझे पता है कि पैसा कम है और टाइम भी ज़्यादा लगेगा. एंड इफ आई से येस टू बोथ ऑफ देम, knowing what my capability is, I would have no problem. But अगर इसी के साथ साथ मुझे तीसरा बंदा भी आ जाता है, वो ये कहता है कि मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, पैसा है और मेरे पास प्रोजेक्ट भी है, और ये जो 15 दिन का काम है आप ये एक हफ्ते में करके दे दो, एंड आई वुड से येस टू दैट, दैट विल बी माई मिस्टेक। क्योंकि आपको किसी के, मैं ये नहीं कहता काम तो आपको एक कस्टमर सेंट्रिक करना ही है, लेकिन अनरियलिस्टिक काम नहीं करना। क्योंकि अनरियलिस्टिक में आप क्या करेंगे, आप अपना टाइम भी व्यर्थ करेंगे, जो टाइम आप क्रिएटिवली स्पेंड कर सकते थे। सेकेंड, आप वो रिसोर्सेज यूज करेंगे जो आप क्रिएटिवली किसी दो प्रोजेक्ट्स पे यूज कर सकते थे, चाहे वो कॉपी पेस्ट वाला प्रोजेक्ट हो या फिर क्रिएटिव वाला प्रोजेक्ट हो, बोथ आर प्रोजेक्ट्स। लेकिन अगर जो कमर्शियल प्रोजेक्ट होता है, इफ़ ही अंडरस्टैंड द रिक्वायरमेंट, इफ़ ही अंडरस्टैंड ये टाइम चाहिए, ये टाइम लगना है, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उस प्रोजेक्ट को लेने में। क्योंकि देखो आपके फील्ड ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर में, या फिर इवन आई वुड से इन एनी फील्ड, not every project is going to be a star project, not every assignment is going to be your assignment is going to be a star assignment। अगर आप रिपोर्टिंग भी करते हो तो हर रिपोर्टिंग अच्छी नहीं होती है, राइट? दैट इज ओके, दैट इज द केस, दैट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू मर्फीज लॉ। आप 100 चीज करोगे, 20 और 80 का रेशियो होता है, उसमें ना और हाँ नहीं होती है। ना सिर्फ उस चीज में होती है, आपको एक करेक्टली बताना पड़ेगा, समझना पड़ेगा कि यार ये चीज इस चीज में पॉसिबल है या नहीं है। हर चीज को अगर आप हाँ करोगे, हर प्रोजेक्ट को आप बोलोगे जी मैं करने को तैयार हूँ, चाहे वो जॉब में भी क्यों ना हो। मैनेजर बोला ये काम अभी करके देना है, क्या है, अरे सर दे तो दूंगा मैं, अभी बैठकर मैं पूरे दिन बैठ जाके कर लूंगा, लेकिन आप ये समझिए कि ये काम एक हफ्ते का है, मैं एक दो दिन में नहीं कर सकता हूँ, चाहे आप इसके लिए मुझे फायर ही करना कर सकते हो, कर लो। आप मुझे टेंशन दोगे, मैं इस टेंशन में काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा ना। अल्टीमेटली माई वर्क इज क्रिएटिव, I have to be creative to do that work. I need to take care of myself as well and while doing the work. So there needs to be a work-life balance as well. So main important thing is that the way you have to manage your balance, your economics is only based on this thing, that you don't say yes to each and every project coming at your doorsteps. You have to, in our field, you have to educate the client. You have to tell कि सर जो चीज़ आप बोल रहे हैं वो इतने दिन में नहीं, इतने दिन में पॉसिबल है, और ये इस टाइम शुरू होगा और इस टाइम खत्म होगा। तो व्हाट आई डू, हिमांशु, इन माय प्रोजेक्ट्स इज दैट एवरी एग्रीमेंट आई पुट अ टाइमलाइन टू इट। आई वुड से आपको मेरे को आपका काम करना है, आपका घर बनाना है, मैं ये घर 3 महीने में डिजाइन कर दूंगा, और इस 3 महीने में ही आपको मुझे पैसे देने हैं जो भी देने हैं। और ये 3 महीने मेरे लिए एक ब्लॉक एंड टर्म हो गया, इस टर्म के अंदर ही मुझे वो 3 महीने का पूरा घर मुझे डिजाइन करके देना है, ईच एंड एवरी चीज मैं करके दे दूंगा, सारी ड्राइंग्स बनाकर दे दूंगा। इससे क्या होता है, यू विल बी करेक्टली इन्फॉर्म कि आर्किटेक्ट इस प्रोजेक्ट पे 3 महीने ही काम करेगा, और मुझे भी पता है इस प्रोजेक्ट पे मुझे सिर्फ 3 महीने ही काम करने हैं। अगर आप आओगे और आप बोलोगे कि मेरा घर डिजाइन कर दो, मुझे तो एक हफ्ते बाद कंस्ट्रक्शन शुरू करनी है, आई वुड से कि सर ये टाइम सही नहीं है, इट्स बेटर कि आप ये काम किसी और से करवा दीजिए, क्योंकि मैं जस्टिस नहीं कर पाऊंगा आपके प्रोजेक्ट को। I think that everyone understands. So that is how you balance your economics. It is never about choosing one or another. You can never choose कि मैं creative ही करूँगा और मैं commercial नहीं करूँगा, या मैं commercial ही करूँगा creative नहीं करूँगा। You have to maintain that balance. But इससे अलग जो एक image है ना, वो image है in practicality को yes मत करो। टेंशन में आकर प्रोजेक्ट में उठाओ, डेस्परेशन में आकर प्रोजेक्ट में उठाओ, कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस में आकर प्रोजेक्ट मत उठाओ, गलत प्रोजेक्ट्स मत उठाओ, और जो चीज़ रियलिस्टिक है उसे ही कमिट करो और उन्हीं को ही आगे बढ़ो। तो तुम्हारा जो संतुलन है वो संभला रहेगा। अगर आपको कम लगता है कि जी मेरा खर्चा नहीं निकल रहा है, व्हाट यू विल डू, यू विल गो आउट इन द मार्केट एंड रिगरसली आस्क फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट्स ना। और अगर आपको लगता है कि यार मेरा काम चल रहा है, तो आप मांगना बंद कर दोगे। फिर अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट आएगा भी तो आप बोलोगे सर अभी मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, मैं एक हफ्ते बाद मिलूंगा आपको। दैट इज ओके, दैट्स सेंसिबल, राइट? दैट्स हाउ यू मैनेज।
Okay. Next thing, Lovel, all of your projects, they require the client to spend a lot of money, right? Any which ways, element ही ऐसा है कि आपका majority of your savings, earnings, it goes into house building, and it's an aspirational thing. And the time that you spend with the customer, it's not for a day or two. It takes you around a week to probably convert that client into a business. Then a relationship start which lasts around 6 months to a year,
Minimum,
or maybe more than
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
How do you manage the relation with the client, especially when you have multiple clients? Right, for every client they are supposed to be your priority. Now how do you manage all of this?
By speaking truth. It is as simple as that, but it's the most difficult aspect of a job. When you are not able to deliver your project, say that कि sir, certain things are there. Never justify your failures. Always accept where you are wrong. And there are a couple of things our client says, आपने एक महीने की बात बोली थी, आज 1.5 महीना हो गया है. सर बिल्कुल हो गया है, बिल्कुल हो गया है. एंड इसको मैं कॉम्पनसेट करने के लिए आई एम गोइंग टू डू सच एंड सच थिंग्स. योर ऑनेस्टी is going to always help you in the longer run. And when you are making faces, when you are trying to implicate something, or when you are trying to justify your mistakes, that client understands. So what happens is, right now I would say we have like 22 projects going on. All these clients are clients for us. Every one of client is basically have a certain type of relationship with us. Some are very good clients, some are okay, some are not paying on time. Still we do the work because it is our commitment. Their commitment was to give us the money. They couldn't fulfill those, but I cannot go back on my word, because it is all about the brand building we have in the market. So each person that comes, we have certain processes. We make some timelines of every project. So whatever we say, whatever we project, we tell it to the client, and then client behaves accordingly. If some clients don't, then we have to always mention those things. There are certain criteria. कुछ clients हमसे बड़े होते हैं, पैसों में भी, स्टेटस में भी, उम्र में भी. उन क्लाइंट्स को मैनेज करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है, बिकॉज वो आपको एक जूनियर की हैसियत से समझते हैं. वो कहते हैं यार ये छोटा आर्किटेक्ट है, चाहे आप, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता आप कितने बड़े आर्किटेक्ट हो जाओ, क्योंकि उनके पर्सपेक्टिव में आप छोटे रहते हैं. वो आपको डोमिनेट करते हैं. उस डोमिनेशन का एक ही तरीका है उस चीज़ को हैंडल करने का. या तो पेशेंटली रहकर उनकी बातों को समझो, और हर चीज़ में हाँ मत करो. हर चीज़ को समझो और समझ के फिर उसके बाद उसका एक काउंटर अटैक निकालो. या दूसरा तरीका है कि जब कोई भी चीज़ वो पुट अप कर रहे हैं, कोई भी चीज़ वो कर रहे हैं, तो उसको समझ के ना उनको वहीं पे समझाना पड़ता है कि सर ये चीज़ अनरियलिस्टिक है, ये चीज़ रियलिस्टिक है. अगर उनको वो चीज़ पसंद नहीं है, देन यू शुड से नो टू दोज क्लाइंट्स. ये डोमिनेशन नहीं वर्क करती. देयर इज अ म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट, म्यूचुअल ऑनेस्टी दैट शुड हैपन बिटवीन क्लाइंट्स. सो आई थिंक ऑलवेज ओपन अप योर स्ट्रगल्स, योर कमिटमेंट्स. मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि हर कमिटमेंट जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो उतने टाइम में ही पूरी हो जाए. अगर वो मेजॉरिटी हमेशा हर टाइम पे नहीं होती है, तो उसके लिए हमेशा ये रहता है कि उसका एक कॉन्टीजेंसी प्लान रहता है. तो दैट इज़ हाउ यू सॉल्व द क्लाइंट्स. और मेजॉरिटी ऑफ क्लाइंट्स तुम सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते हो. उसी के लिए प्रोसेस होनी चाहिए. हर चीज़ के क्वेश्चन, हर चीज़ का कॉल मैं उठाने लग गया, हर साइट का कॉल या हर क्लाइंट का मैं कॉल उठाने लग गया, तो मैं वर्क नहीं कर पाऊंगा अपना, जो मेरा डिज़ाइन वर्क है या बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट वर्क है. तो व्हाट आई डू इज़ आई डेलीगेट. ओके, तो डेलीगेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है. द पीपल whom you trust, your partner or your good senior employees that you trust, then you formally introduce them कि सर मेरे साइड से ये रिप्रेजेंट करेगा. वी आर वर्किंग एज अ टीम, नॉट आई एम नॉट द ओनली वन डिजाइनिंग. वी आर वर्किंग एज अ टीम. फॉर एनी प्रॉब्लम दैट यू हैव, प्लीज कॉन्टैक्ट देम. एंड दैट्स हाउ थिंग्स हैपन्स. 20 क्लाइंट्स हैं तो 3 लोगों को बढ़ा दो, बना दो, क्योंकि आप उनको लीडर बनाओगे तभी वो चार आगे लोगों को लीडर बना पाएंगे. And that's how you delegate the work, and then those things gets managed. Even if you are not in town, still things gets managed. That's a part of the process that you have to build.
Right. Starting into a freelancer and starting your own business. And in the business also, starting from 100 square yards ka plot to a 500 bed ka hospital, that must have been a journey, and quite an amazing one, quite honestly. You've done it, what, in a year or two?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just share this journey with our audience, what your learnings were and how did you scale up, and what, for the audience, what are the key points that we should have in mind when we are scaling up our business?
So the true answer for that is, the first key learning I have told you, that the mindset. People doubt themselves. I have my friend, and he said, when I told him that I've won this project, which is North India's biggest cancer hospital, and it's a 400 bed hospital. He said, Lovel, are you serious? I said, why? He said, I would have never taken this project. I said, why? He said, you know, the amount of pressure is going to be on you. How you're going to do this thing is it's your first project individually on your individual capacity. Earlier your projects that you have done, it's all under the good cocoon umbrella of an corporate firm. I said, I know. And this happened before a big set drop which happened in my career as an entrepreneur, and still I took this project. I roundabout lost a fortune in one of the projects because I didn't knew how to do that thing. And then the client he got angry and all, and then we have to return the money and all that stuff happened. And after that, I took this one of the biggest job. So I said one thing to him, the only one thing to him, that was that particular person. I put up his name and I said that I know I'm going to fail, and I know it can be a disaster for me as well. I know that. I'm well aware of it, but I'm still doing it. I cannot justify this. I cannot justify this to myself that how can I not take this just because out of the fear of I'm going to lose again. Like how I'm going to answer that. I know your answer. I know your justification that if something such a negative happens, what is going to happen? I know that your answer is never take that. But what I'm going to say to myself, and he had no answer for that, because there is no answer for that, of not trying again. It is as simple as that. Of not trying again, how are you going to justify that to yourself? So the thing is, not everyone understands each and everything what he does. Like people, like the big shot of this country, or the architects or interior designers of this country, they didn't knew how to handle that project in the first step. They must have gone through that much tremendous problem or failures, I would say. But I think the only way to discover is to go through. There's no other way of discovering. The way I'm going to learn making good hospital building is to design them, to learn from the mistakes. Then second thing I told you na, be honest. सर नहीं समझ में आ रहा था, मैंने ये किया. बस I am well aware of कि मैं किसी का नुकसान ना करूं, मैं सीखूं. एंड दैट इज अ की थिंग कि जब आप किसी चीज पे अकाउंटेबल होते हो तभी आप सीखते भी हो. अदरवाइज आप वही चीज रिपीट करते रहते हो जो आपको पहले आती थी. सो आई रिमेंबर दैट प्रोजेक्ट बिकॉज हॉस्पिटल की जर्नी भी ऐसी शुरू हुई थी. हमने एक बहुत छोटा सा राउंड अबाउट 15 फीट बाय 30 फीट का हमने एक डेंटल क्लिनिक किया था. वो डेंटल क्लिनिक करने के बाद हमें एक न्यूरो क्लिनिक मिला 2 फ्लोर का. उस 2 फ्लोर के न्यूरो क्लिनिक के बाद हमें 50 बेड हॉस्पिटल मिला, which was just about 13,500 square feet. And people got so convinced that the way I was doing things is that they got me introduced to a nearby hospital which was in the process, and the architecture part was given to someone else. So I went there as an interior designer, and I created some 60-page big presentation. And my partner Radhika, she said, Lovel, why the hell you are going with such big presentation, so much preparation? I said, I have no other option but to win this project. And I remember I gave entire presentation for straight 3.5 hours. And that's why I'm highlighting is because I have a back pain because of my weight, which I've just put in my COVID journey. So, and I didn't realize it, that 3.5 hours are gone. And the doctors were like listening to me. And after that presentation, they said, you guys are going to do our house. I was doing a hospital presentation, but they were so convinced seeing an interior presentation of a hospital that they said, you are going to do our house. Because I was discussing the principles. I was not telling them what I have did, what projects I have. I have told them what are the important key aspects where you should be focusing on, what are the key design things that you should be focusing on. And that's how I got this project. That is North India's biggest cancer hospital. And I got the interior designing project for that. And then when I started doing the interior designing project, I had that chill of why I'm not being an architect of it. It's not like कि मैंने किसी की रोटी छीन ली या मैंने किसी का वो छीन लिया. There were a very, very big problems in the architectural aspect of that building. The building, the entire area was designed for 250 people, and there were only two toilets for them. So I was like baffled that ऑन्कोलॉजी का एरिया है, इसमें 250 लोग आएंगे, 2 लोग के लिए टॉयलेट है, डॉक्टर्स के लिए टॉयलेट ही नहीं है, वो भी कॉमन टॉयलेट के अंदर जाएंगे. एक एक टॉयलेट से एक प्रथा शुरू हुई. एंड आई हाईलाइटेड दैट एंड दे वर लाइक ओ. एंड देन आई फिगर आउट अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स वर देयर. द वाटर पॉइंट्स वर नॉट देयर. The entire functioning of how the space management should be there, how the person are going to enter and how they're going to exit. Entry and exit were from the same point, which is a major disaster in hospital building. You need to segregate entry and exit, otherwise it will be so much. You need to control how the crowd is going to navigate into your spaces, and it's the only way of putting it is not because of doing the directions thing. You have to consciously understand what psyche of your people are going to enter in that building. They don't know a thing about reading that sign. How they're going to navigate in your building? You make the spaces that they know, okay, that is the only way of navigation. So you have to design in such a way so they don't have to worry about thinking about it or asking something from someone. It is a building, it's not a highway lane that you have to put signatures, signs onto it. So that is how I tackled that design. And when I did that, and they're like, please proceed. And that is how when I understood a lot of make big small problems, and I gave a solution to it, and I designed the entire thing, they said please proceed ahead with the architectural aspect of the project as well. And that's how I never thought, I never believed. It was just 1.5 year of my practice, and I landed a 2 lakh square feet of 400-bed hospital. I'm an architect and interior designer both of that project. And no one from my office even thought. And they said it's a big achievement. I said no, it's not a big achievement. I know how precisely I took this project. If I am a nobody, and if I would have just got there and then in the starting of the project, that project would not have been landed into my hands. It landed because someone did a crappy job, and I gave a solution to their problem. That is why they have hired me. Now this becomes a stepping stone to me being a fresh architect on a fresh project. But if this case was not there, it would not have happened. So I'm telling you, I had to hit the rock at the right moment, at the right given window. You know, I have given presentation of my company in a matter of just 18 seconds in an elevator to a person who I don't know at all. I just know that this is a big client. I said, you know what? This is a project that you should be looking forward for. This is. That's it. He had only 18 seconds to spare, and I gave my basic presentation to that guy in that lift. And that's it. And you know what? I got a response from him after one year, approximately after 10.5 months. He said, you know, I have given your number to someone I know who's going to build his own house. I remember that thing that you have showed me. I really liked it. That's it. And it's not something extraordinary I have done. It's not something it's just about reading the context and giving you problems to that solution. Anyone can do that. If you are eager, you will be eager. If it is your business, you will be eager to get the project. The only thing is, you don't have to, think about right moment or right thing. Any time can be a right moment. You just know, don't doubt yourself. You should have your own, all the tools ready and go into it, barge into it. And that is how I got it. Small चीज़ों से मैंने जब ये निकाला, एक होटल प्रोजेक्ट मेरे को एक छोटी सी गार्डन की शॉप ने लाकर दे दिया. It was not simple. It was because we have given so much thought to it. So much thought to it. क्यों? उसने बोला भाई मेरे को पॉट लगाने हैं, पॉट लगा दो. मैंने बोला मैं पॉट ऐसे रैक लगा के नहीं लगाऊंगा. कहते तो फिर कैसे लगाओगे? मैं इसमें क्या किया, मैंने वो लकड़ी का बनाकर उसमें खांचे बना दिए. तो मैंने बोला जो तुम्हारा नॉर्मल बंदा जो मेंटेन करता है ना शॉप को, वो पॉट को उसकी हाइट और उसके साइज के हिसाब से ऊपर नीचे कर सकता है. ऐसे कर करके इसमें नया क्या है? मैं कहा नया कुछ नहीं है. इसमें नया ये है कि हर एक पॉट को सिग्निफिकेंस मिलेगी. ऐसा नहीं कि वो हर पॉट अलग अलग है. हर पॉट को रिप्रेजेंट करने का तरीका भी अलग होना चाहिए. और आपके नंबर ऑफ पॉट्स भी ज्यादा लगेंगे, नंबर ऑफ वेराइटीज भी ज्यादा लगेंगी, और सबको इंडिविजुअल अटेंशन मिलेगी. इससे आपका पॉट का बिजनेस बड़े आराम से बिकेगा. He said, फेयर इनफ, कर दो। एंड आई डिड दैट। एंड आपको पता है क्या हुआ? उस बंदे ने, जिसने मुझे होटल दिया, ही केम टू बी एंड ही सेड, इतना दिमाग तो वो एक शॉप ओनर वाला नहीं लगा सकता था, आप ये बताइए आपने ऐसा क्यों किया? देन आई टोल्ड हिम एंड ही सेड, दैट्स ग्रेट, दैट्स फेयर इनफ, डू दिस प्रोजेक्ट। मतलब जो बंदा ढूंढ रहा होता है किसी आर्किटेक्ट को, वो देखता है, ये छोटी छोटी चीजें देखता है, हाउ मच एनर्जी, अमाउंट ऑफ मनी, अमाउंट ऑफ थिंकिंग दैट आर्किटेक्ट इज गिविंग. You don't have to make things fancy in order to make it look beautiful. You have to answer to yourself in the end that इस प्रोजेक्ट को करने से मैं किसी को इंस्पायर कर पाया, मैं अपने आप को इंस्पायर कर पाया. If I am getting that confidence that this project has this kind of a thing which has solved this many problems of the client, this has saved so many monies, so many bucks of the client, then you'll be happy. And that reflects in your confidence. When that reflects into your confidence, it definitely gets converted into business. That is what I feel. And that is how it keeps you go through all those frustrations in that business also. यार at the end मुझे पता है कि मैं जो निकाल के लेकर आ रहा हूँ ना, it's going to क्या बोलते हैं उसको, खत्म कर देगा वो सारी प्रॉब्लम फ्रस्ट्रेशन जो है ना, उन सबको ओवरलुक कर देगा. सो दैट इज हाउ आई एम सेइंग कि ये जो चीज़ें आपको नया बिजनेस निकालने में और स्केलेबिलिटी की बात आती है, स्केलेबिलिटी हैपन्स व्हेन यू थिंक एंड व्हेन यू वर्क ऑन स्मॉल स्मॉल पॉइंट्स. वैसे ही जैसे हमारे टीम है, उसको बढ़ाने के लिए भी हुआ. पहली बात, बड़ी आराम से मैंने ये समझा जब मैं लंदन में भी था और चाइना में भी मैंने काम किया. एक टाइप का होता है कि मैं एक ओनर हूँ और मेरे साथ नीचे जूनियर्स हैं, मेरे अंडर काम करने वाले. ऐसा नहीं होता. ऐसा पहले हुआ करता था, पर अगर आप आज भी ऐसे लेके चलोगे तो थिंग्स डोंट वर्क लाइक दैट एनीमोर. These are all my team. These are there as a part of my team. If I don't work along with them, things will not turn up into a masterpiece. वो क्या होगा, वो कॉपी पेस्ट वाला सॉल्यूशन ही निकल के आएगा. हर एक मेंटालिटी को समझना पड़ता है. मेरे साथ भी आई हैव गिवन अ वेरी जेन्युइन अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू द पीपल. जिनको कुछ नहीं आता है, मैं बोलता हूँ तुम ऑफिस आओ, सीखो, तुम्हें टाइम दूंगा, 1 महीना 2 महीना, उसके बाद प्रोडक्ट निकालो, यू विल बी पेड ऑल्सो एंड यू विल बी गिवन प्रमोशन एज वेल. एंड आई डोंट वेट फॉर अ ईयर और सो. जैसे ही काम आया तभी प्रमोशन भी मिल गया. पर ये सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज कुछ लोग मिसयूज करते हैं, कुछ लोग यूज करते हैं. एंड बहुत सारे लोग काम करके सीख के चले भी जाते हैं. एंड आई ऑलवेज हैव टू लाइक अगेन बिकम एन HR ऑफ द कंपनी, start hiring from different parts of India, and then ask them to come there. I gave them accommodation also along with the money. But this is all what I'm doing is that I need to have, I feel that all the people around India have different things to put up on the table. That is why I just don't hire only people surrounding my office. So I do hire from different region, and it always happens that people are going to leave you after a certain point of time. Some people stick, some people don't. That is always the case in every architectural firm. So you have to just keep on going. You have to give good chances. And what I feel is that if you're going to behave as a team member, there is no culture of boss or employee relationship in my firm. Everyone is an architect, a designer. We are also designers. Yes, sometimes I'm wrong. They say things to me, I accept it. Sometimes they are wrong, I also say things to them. I also yell at them. The only difference is that they cannot yell back at me. But I have never ever given this impression that I am above them or something like that. Never. It is always like when you mutually respect each and everyone, what you will do is you will give mature level of architects into the other field. So जहाँ भी वो होंगे, वो एक अच्छा built asset create करेंगे. तो you are successful ना. अगर आपने कुछ ऐसे लीडर्स क्रिएट कर दिए मार्केट में जो अपने आप अच्छा एसेट बनाएंगे, यू आर सक्सेसफुल. सो स्केलिंग happens very slowly, and there is always a frustration part in it. You always make people learn and they leave you, but slowly it happens that you continue to expand and then expand, but never expand like this, never expand like that. अगर एक प्रोजेक्ट आया, अरे 10 लोगों को हायर कर लो, ऐसा कभी मत करो. क्योंकि जब वो प्रोजेक्ट नहीं रहेगा या कोई प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है, तब आप निकालोगे भी तो ना. वो नहीं होना चाहिए. जो भी तुम्हारी ग्रोथ है, वो सस्टेनेबल होना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है.
Right. So, Lovel, you talked about sustainable scalability. right? Is sustainable scalability में how much of tech interventions do you involve? Abhi, what I was probably, or for my personal growth also, I'm learning augmented reality. Is augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and BIM you've already mentioned about, how much of a role does technology plays in the field of architecture?
See, it's the same role a pencil does to an architect, right? If I have certain thing to convey to you, what I do? Initial stages, architect used to sketch. Then, after sketching, first in the initial days, architect only used to sketch. They never used to draft. Then they started drafting to make it more crispier and more explainable. Then they used to draft on bigger sheets also. It was a time taking process. Then came the CAD, and then people started doing everything on the computer. It is all just a matter of tool that you're using to express your ideas and to explain things that is needed to be built on the site. And doesn't matter how what tool you use, because it is all depends upon your architect. They like look people say that artificial intelligence is going to take architect's job or interior design job. It never happens that way. Yes, architect who does not know how to use those tools, they will take your job, because ultimately in every era the tool that you are using is getting evolved. And if I say right now in the age of BIM, or now in the age of AI and augmented reality, if I say I'll go back to my roots and I'll started doing sketching, I can do that, but I won't be able to practice, because I have 14 different projects, 20 different projects working on. On all the projects, I have to just draft and do the sketching and all that stuff. I have to hire a lot of manpower for that, and then that will impact a lot on my budget, and I will spend up spending more and gaining less. So tools are helps you to escalate. Tools help you to do things efficiently. It has nothing to do with the job that you are doing, or it's going to replace you as doing. It's nothing to do that with that. I believe BIM, now artificial intelligence, augmented reality, these are all very much efficient ways of explaining what you want to explain. So the technology that you're talking about, even if it's about 3D printers or anything, if you are the brain behind what you want to make it, then it will be built more efficiently without much hassle, less problems, and you will be a much more efficient architect, I would say. Right now, I'm taking 20 projects with this helps of these technology and all that stuff. I'm going to take 40. That's it.
Right. Now, Level, like in the entire ecosystem currently, sustainability is a big topic that everybody is looking forward to. Even in architecture, people are looking at sustainable building, right? Even the building materials are now sustainable.
Yeah.
People have created bricks out of waste material.
Yeah.
People are creating, again, we are going back to mud houses,
Yeah.
a lot of places. What do you think is the scope and future of sustainable architecture in India and abroad?
It's sustainable. The future is sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah, all these techniques that you're talking about were very much prevalent in our history. It's not like that it's gaining up right now. It is always there. It was always been practiced on, and it is going to be practiced on as well. The reason why you are listening to it right now is because of the activists. They have started showing off their work. People are actually understanding the reality. Understanding, not every architect is understanding it. Few of them are doing it, and few of them are understanding it, and they are practicing the entire mud architecture and all that stuff. So in terms of sustainability, what I think is that few of architects, they actually are practicing it, and they are very much sustainable and they are much more buildable than whatever you are building. But if I try to say कि यार एक mud architecture से पूरा 40 मंजिला building बना लो, वो possible नहीं है, वो आरसीसी से ही possible है. But then what you can do to reduce the carbon footprint of that building, that is again a way towards sustainability. So using all the waste materials into your building materials, if that's an option, people should take it. People should take it. People should experience it. Like one of the TED talks I was going through the other day, they said that some round about billions of tires, they get dumped into a waste, every day in India or in the world as well. Like millions of tires every day on a daily basis, they're getting dumped. So if we are using though that material in our building as a dead weight on the structure, then it should be usable. It should be done. I don't think so. There should be any qualms about it not using it. So sustainability is all about your endeavor that I'm always going to put the new material into it or I'm going to recycle the old waste. It all depends on practice to practice, and the ideal should be that it should be practiced.
Level. So you must have heard that recently even government of India has used the technology of 3D printing in creating a post office. Now
Yeah.
I know that is huge in China, and now government of India has also used it. What is your take on it? I'm like, is it the future of construction, or is it just a part of or type of construction that will be there and not surpass the other tools that are available with us?
See, 3D printing has the potentiality, I would say, for now. It is a part of construction process. Like a lot of modules, they can be easily 3D printed now. Like for example, a small structure of let's say a 10 by 10, 15 by 15, if there are modules, such modules there in the industry, and you want to just replicate them in terms of numbers, then 3D printing is very effective way. Then you can do it also. So it is easier that way, and it is all about certain kind of technique is more feasible in certain type of buildings and sometimes it is not. Like for example, you must have heard about marine containers getting converted into the construction part. A lot of stadiums got built. I used to work in a company which was completely specialized in making the entire house inside the marine containers, and then they got used to get shipped, and they used to get like a Lego. They used to get jumped up, and then in the inside you will not feel a difference that it's an RCC building or a MS building. You will feel that it's a building. So these are all construction techniques. The same kind of technique was difficult for the company to work in Asian parts because here the labor is cheap and it is very usable and economical and value for money working on a developed country because the construction is very expensive out there. Same case with the 3D printing as well. Let's say for example tomorrow uh, some architect comes up with a very different design which is hard to be made in RCC, then the 3D printing is a way to go ahead. If the modules are the case, then it's a 3D printing the way to go ahead. When I talk about making multi-level building of 60 floor, then 3D printing might be a issue or might be a challenge. You might not use it. It's all about what kind of a building you want to make, and there are particular ways to it. 3D printing is one of them, and 3D printing has a good future as well, good potentiality as well. It's just that it's not a solution for every type of problem. There is not even a case problem, like even RCC is not a problem solver for every type of thing. If I'm going to make a RCC building in a humid environment, then it becomes difficult. I have to mechanically ventilate that building, so I have more problems to solve than if I'm going to work in RCC. So not a single construction technique is there who's going to help solve each and every problem. So it's all different type of problem techniques are there. They used in different kind of buildings and their building process. It's all
Sorry,
individual.
you used the word RCC
Yeah.
quite a few times.
Yeah.
Can you explain what RCC is?
Is reinforcement cement concrete. So concrete mixed up with reinforcement bars. That is called RCC.
The traditional houses that we
Yes,
make with
yes.
brick and cement and everything. That's our RCC with metal,
The bars.
support structures.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Yes.
Now, Lovell, there's a whole trend of tiny houses that is being followed in Europe, America, and even New Zealand and Australia. Uh, I've seen a few tiny houses in India as well. So I'm like, do people even wanna have a tiny house in India? Is that culture here actually, or is that just restricted to Airbnbs that people are creating? It's like a novelty kind of a thing. Okay, there's a tiny house available with small space that is being utilized to the fullest extent. Is that trend here in India or not?
It's not. It's not much of a trend. I would say it's much of a personal liking. That, like the tiny house concept. It is very much prevalent in countries like Hong Kong, where the real estate is very expensive. It is very much prevalent in San Francisco.
Half of the
And
Japan is tiny
half of the
houses.
Japan is tiny houses.
Yeah.
For a simple reason that it is very much a big problem. The population is huge and the place is very tiny. It's very expensive as well. If I tell you these tiny houses, it is very rare in China as well. I've worked in China, and they have a huge landmass, but they are all connected to the rail link, bullet trains. So most of the people, they stay out in the villages and the other areas which are far from the main city center. They travel every day, so they don't need to do that. But if you don't have the option, then definitely you have to make those compact spaces, and then you have to fit each and everything into it. So trendy in terms of India, it might be a future case where people will might use tiny houses in cities like Mumbai, where there is no place to expand or something, and people have to rotate. But then I would say tiny houses is something which we are already been living in for quite a decade now. All those chals and choppers and all those juggi and jhopadis were a kind of a tiny house concept only. The only thing is that now it is going to get created in all those RCC and big pakka houses now. So yes, there is no trend into it, but there is a need here in India where people don't have money. They have those small part of money that they can own a very small amount of land. They have to create something out of it. Then those tiny house concepts, they actually helps. If you make very efficient buildings, you give everything what a person needs into that small space, people would love you for that.
So, Level, thank you for your time. Now, before closing this video, I want you to share your key learnings and advice for the young professionals out there and people who want to start their own architecture firm.
Hmm.
What will be your key message and your advice to them?
Uh, Key message I would summarize in that: always understand your why. Why, if you understand your why you want to start the practice, then I think you should start. That if that why is very much important to you. For me, why was very much important in terms of when I said मुझे क्यों करनी है, उसका सिंपल सा रीज़न ये था कि I wanted to enhance the built environment of my country. बिकॉज मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे यहाँ पर क्लाइंट, देर आर आर्किटेक्ट्स हु आर वर्किंग अंडर देयर ओन थिंग, दे आर ट्राइंग टू इनहेंस द बिल्ट एनवायरनमेंट, बट मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि किसी किसी नहीं जगह पर मेरे को आई एम नॉट लाइकिंग इट, आई एम नॉट लाइकिंग द ओवरऑल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिन बिल्ट ऑफ इन इंडिया. तो मेरा वाई बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट था ये चीज़ के लिए कि यार मेरे को एक तो एक्सपीरियंस मिले. मैं बिम इंडस्ट्री से उठकर एकदम मैंने अपनी कंपनी स्टार्ट कर ली विदाउट एनी प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस और एनीथिंग. द ओनली एक्सपीरियंस आई हैड वाज working on those big projects that I worked under BIM umbrella because I was very well placed in BIM environment. But when I started working as an architect, I understood the challenges. Challenges होता है एक बड़ा, सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज होता है कि क्लाइंट जब आपसे बात करता है तो क्लाइंट को बहुत बार ये नहीं पता होता कि वो जो चाहता है वो कितने लेवल का चाहता है. कभी कभार उसकी वांट भी आपको समझानी पड़ती है. यू हैव टू एजुकेट देम कि आपकी चाहना कितना रियलिस्टिक है, कितना अनरियलिस्टिक है. पहले आपको वो मिसकंसेप्शन हटाना पड़ता है कि जी आप सोच रहे हो ना वो नहीं है, असलियत में ये होता है. फिर उस चीज़ को कन्वर्ट करना प्रोजेक्ट में, फिर उसको डिज़ाइन बनाना, अप्रूव करवाना, फिर उसको डिज़ाइन करके उसकी ड्राइंग्स निकालना, फिर उसको साइट पे बनाना, फिर उसके बाद पैसे निकालना. सबसे बड़ा पैसे निकालने के लिए भी पीछे भागना पड़ता है. फिर पैसे निकालने के बाद लोगों को वो डिज़ाइन दिखाना, अपने आप को मार्केट करना, वहाँ से प्रोजेक्ट लेना. इट्स अ ह्यूज एंड हेमेंडस टास्क आई वुड से. तो एक फर्म को निकालने के लिए ना आपको एक नंबर ऑफ इन नंबर ऑफ रीजंस चाहिए होंगे कि मैं इस फर्म को क्यों चला के रखूं, क्योंकि देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ हर्डल्स. तो वो चीज़ आपका क्यों जो है वो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंटली सॉल्व होना चाहिए. मैंने फर्म किसी के नाम के ऊपर नहीं रखी, अपने नाम के ऊपर नहीं रखी, बिकॉज आई एम इररिलेवेंट. Void, I have put my company's name Void Studios is because I am basically designing out of nothing. Void is nothing. So every space gets create out of nothing. Every architectural space is an art of defining a space. So it is all again from the void. That's why I created Void. Anyone can be a part of Void Studios. Tomorrow I would not be there. Anyone can take over and continue the practice of Void. What I feel is that when I create something, na, some two of my clients, they said, I want to patent my design. बिकॉज एक कारपेंटर वाला आता है, वो फोटो क्लिक करके जाता है और वो फिर कहीं वो बनाना ले. एक बंदे ने अपना मुहूर्त ही नहीं करवाया घर का, उससे मेरे को भी प्रोजेक्ट नहीं मिले. उस बंदे ने मुहूर्त ही नहीं करवाया, वो कहता है कि नहीं नज़र लग जाएगी मेरे घर को. कह रहे कि ये जो मैंने डिज़ाइन आपने बनाया ना, आपसे मैंने लिखत में लिख के दीजिए, आप कहीं और नहीं बनाएंगे. और मैं आपको, और उस बंदे ने किसी को रिकमेंड इसलिए नहीं किया कि कहीं हम उसके घर पे जाकर उसका डिज़ाइन ना दे दें. यस, दिस हैपेंड. तो वो हमारे लिए नुकसान साबित हुआ. एक क्लाइंट जो मैंने छोटा आपको बताया था ना कि मैंने न्यूरो क्लिनिक बनाया, तो वो मेरे 50 बेड हॉस्पिटल वाले क्लाइंट को जानता था. उसके पास जाकर वो क्या कहता है कि आप ना इनके पैसे रोक के रखिएगा. तो उन्होंने बोला क्यों? कि एक्चुअली में ना ये अपना डिज़ाइन अच्छा करने के चक्कर में मेरा महंगा कर दिया इन्होंने बजट. आई एम लाइक, ये मेरी तारीफ कर रहा है या मेरी बुराई कर रहा है? एंड अल्टीमेटली मेरे क्लाइंट्स के साथ रिलेशन अच्छे थे. मैं ऑलवेज ऑनेस्ट. तो पीपल लाइक दैट, हाँ वो ऐसे ऐसा आया था, उसने ऐसे ऐसे बोल के गया. मैं कहा ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, इट्स ओके, इट हैपेंस इन आवर फर्म. बट द थिंग इज, ये सब चीज़ें जो चैलेंजेस होते हैं ना, ये आप गो थ्रू इसलिए करते हो बिकॉज आपको पता है कि वेयर यू वांट टू गो थ्रू एंड व्हाट यू वांट टू डू, व्हाट यू वांट टू अचीव. इट्स ऑल गिफ्ट्स दैट यू गेट इन योर फर्म. तो मेन चीज़, कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, कि वॉइड हमने जब क्रिएट करी तो हमने ये सोचा कि यार ये जो पेटेंट करवाएंगे या कुछ करेंगे, मैं कहता हूँ इनको पेटेंट करवाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. मैं कहता हूँ लोग इसको देखें और इसको देखकर ये अडॉप्ट करें और आगे अपने प्रैक्टिस में यूज़ करें. अल्टीमेटली दे आर फुलफिलिंग माई विजन ओनली ना. माई स्पेस अराउंड मी इज गोइंग टू गेट डेवलप्ड, इज गोइंग टू गेट एनहांस्ड. तो ओवरऑल बिल्ट एनवायरमेंट एनहांस हुआ. तो आपको एक अवेयरनेस की तरह काम करना है. अगर आप अपने काम से अवेयरनेस क्रिएट कर पा रहे हो, 10 नई चीज़ें समझा पा रहे हो, प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व कर पा रहे हो, तो यू आर बिकमिंग अ कॉग इन अ व्हील एंड दैट्स इट. तुम्हें इसका कोई क्रेडिट लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, कुछ लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. तुमने किया और तुमने ये किया. अगर तुम्हारे सोच तुम्हारी ऐसी है तो बाय डिफॉल्ट तुम्हारी जो फर्म है वो पार कर जाएगी सारे हर्डल्स, सारे प्रॉब्लम्स को, बिकॉज यू आर थिंकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ बिगर पिक्चर, नॉट इन टर्म्स ऑफ यार कल मुझे BMW लेके जानी है. अरे तुम BMW भी खरीद लोगे, सब कुछ खरीद लोगे, लेकिन BMW खरीदने के बाद तुम्हारी खुद की पर्सनल ग्रोथ तो हो गई, लेकिन उसके बाद किसी और की ग्रोथ हो पाई क्या? तुमने 10 बिजनेसमैन को क्रिएट किया. तुम्हारा काम इस टाइम पे ऐसा होना चाहिए कि हम जो भी करें उससे 10 लोग लीडर बने, 10 लोगों का बिजनेस क्रिएट हो, 10 लोगों को प्रेरणा मिले कि हम ऐसे अपना काम शुरू करें. दैट इज हाउ यू गोइंग टू क्रिएट बिग ब्यूटीफुल स्माइल फेसेस इन द वर्ल्ड. That's how I think that why is very much important.
Amazing, Lovel. Thank you for your time. I know you had a lot of personal and professional commitments while coming here to the city.
Thank you.
Still, you find time.
No.
It
was important for me as well, because thank you for giving me such a platform, because it's a very good platform where we can actually share to your audiences the kind of work you put in editing these videos and giving what content your audience wants is just on another level. I cannot even imagine myself doing that. So thank you for giving me that kind of privilege.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Lovel.
Thank you.